Sarah, tell us about the dilemma now facing Angela Merkel.
Well, Merkel's loudest critics, interestingly enough, come from within her own conservative union. Her conservative allies in Bavaria have for months now criticized the way she's been handling this, criticized her open door policy. And one of the loudest voices there is Horst Seehofer. He's the premier of Bavaria, and he has set Merkel a deadline to the end of the year to say she must change her open door policy and improve the situation for Germany. He wants to see European deals in place to ease this crisis. Now, Merkel has been clear the whole time Germany can manage this, even with 1 million refugees expected. She says Germany can do it, but it needs help from its European partners. She wants to see a quota system to see refugees distributed more fairly within the bloc.
Of course, Bavaria very much in the front line as migrants coming over the border. Maybe you understand why people perhaps there are complaining, if you see their point of view. Angela Merkel, of course, having to in some way backtrack from the open door policy, because at one stage it was like, yes, we are Germany, we are open, come and live with us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was a few months ago. And I think what German officials would tell you is, look, we want to make sure that the people who are coming in, who are arriving in Germany, are actually people who have a fair shot of getting asylum here, who have a fair shot at staying. Because let's remember, several weeks ago, the German parliament said, look, if you're coming from a Balkan country that's a safe country, you're not entitled to asylum here. You're going to be deported. So I think that part of what they're trying to do, given the enormous backlog in asylum applications, they have 300,000 more even asylum applications that they have not processed yet. People just left waiting. They're trying to make sure, I hope, that people who come into the country are actually people like from Syria who have an entitlement to asylum rather than countries where they're just going to be sent straight back. That's not really fair to them either, to let them wait in this very, very long limbo process only to be deported.
Indeed, and of course, winter coming, it's not getting easier for those travelling to Europe looking for asylum or refugee status. We've reported about the way far-right groups began to protest in Dresden. I understand it's spread across the country. I'd be interested to find out what ordinary Germans in the streets, in the cafes, what they're saying about this, Sarah.
You know, it's interesting. This is a small but very vocal minority, these far-right groups, who don't want to see any refugees or really any foreigners in Germany. And these are primarily groups in economically depressed areas where there's not maybe enough jobs to go around. And this ideology is dangerous and it's spreading. What ordinary Germans are talking about here in Berlin, where I am, is not so much the refugees themselves, but the terrible job that the Migration Office is doing in processing these applications. The Migration Office is known by its German acronym BAMF, and right now it's taking them about 5.5 months to process an asylum application. And during that time, a person who's applying isn't allowed to work. They have no way of earning money. They're not being given a German class. In short, they're not being integrated into society in any meaningful way. And given the fact that most asylum seekers are from Syria, and they are entitled not only under the Geneva Convention, but also by the German Constitution to have asylum here in Germany, many of these people are going to end up staying, and there's a very, very large feeling that it is better to integrate them sooner rather than later, to get them into language classes, to get them into jobs, training, schooling, and make them feel a part of society rather than putting them in temporary housing and having their twiddle their thumbs all day waiting for their paperwork to be processed. So I think a lot of the criticism right now is of the process of asylum registration and the processing of these applications.
Sounds like it's a positive programme. Sarah Harman, thank you very much indeed. Sarah Harman joining us there, as she said, from Berlin, with the dilemma facing Angela Merkel as Germany approaches taking 1 million migrants in 2015.